Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is having a day today. Today is Thursday, April 13th. Today is National Scrabble Day, National Thomas Jefferson Day, because everyone should go and smoke at the Jefferson Memorial. It's National Peach Cobbler Day, so we know what Gretchen's making for dessert. And it's National Born in... I have no clue what the hell this word is, but it has something to do with Texas. So I'm hoping you can...
No, it doesn't. It has to do with Puerto Rico, man.
It's Puerto Rico.
Boricuanieres Day.
Has something to do with Texas.
It's for the Puerto Rican volunteers in the Spanish-American War. Come on, bro.
Got it.
Come on, man.
Got it. Bro, I've never seen this word in my life, okay?
So, and I do not recommend smoking up at the Jefferson Memorial. That is a federal crime.
Only if you
get Thomas Jefferson, don't believe the hype. Thomas Jefferson was a terrible fucking person, even though he's responsible for a lot of good things in America. He's a terrible rapist.
Oh, God.
And
all right, we're not going
there. He was.
Ay, caramba.
He was.
Oh,
he was. And that's my hometown of Charlottesville. Just saying. He was a rapist.
Boy. Well, thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast.
Founding fathers.
Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can use that fancy little QR code right up there in the top-hand corner of your screen to see where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube and audio only on Clubhouse. And if you are joining us in Clubhouse, you can offer a brief comment on the story most recently presented, as Rico just did, by raising your hand. What do you have to say about that, Rico?
My camera ain't fucking working, but I gotta say, Thomas Jefferson was a racist.
Oh, God.
But he's still one of our founding fathers. He was responsible for a lot of good things. Don't get me wrong. A lot of great things, a lot of great progress in America, but he was a terrible person.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Okay.
Wow.
You know him personally.
Rapist.
You were hanging out with him.
Rapist.
Because you were hanging out with him.
Okay.
What's going on.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of rapists on this show. Just drop that and leave that there. I don't know. God, let's move on. What's the story this morning, guys?
Jason Beck, why don't we start with the highest Republican we know? I mean, Jesus Christ, let's get this going.
Okay. Well, since that's what we're doing.
The highest Republican that we know, Republican in the room, and also the head honcho here at High at 9 News. I'd like to tip my hat to the man always smoking on the best weed in the world and never backpedaling on his avid support for Donald Trump. Our first story of the day is coming from Jason Beck. Let's hear it, Jason.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Good morning, everybody. Today, my story is kind of interesting, I thought. I found it, I saw this little story about these stores losing their licenses and whatnot. So I was like, oh, what's going on? And apparently in Connecticut, they've raided 3 more CBD shops that are accused of illegally selling THC-laden Delta 8 products. Oh, yeah. 3 more CBD shops allegedly selling THC-laden Delta 8 products illegally were recently raided, bringing the total number of smoke shops targeted to 8 statewide, the Attorney General's office announced on Tuesday. This is incredibly dangerous stuff, and it's totally unregulated. These are all bootleg products, illegal products, and we don't have any real information about how they're made, what's in them, whether they're safe for anyone's consumption, said Attorney General William Tong during a news conference on Tuesday. In a quote, "It's extraordinarily dangerous for these to be sold here in Connecticut, and that's why we took action against these 3 shops. The 3 Stanford CBD shops, which Tong identified as Zaza Smoke Shop, 2, Breeze Smoke Shop, and World's Exotic Smoke Shop, will be charged in civil court for alleged violations of the Connecticut Unfair Trade Practices Act, Tong said. In a quote, he says, "If you live in Stanford, you know where these stores are. They're not hidden in some back alley somewhere in our city. They're in major shopping centers and on major thoroughfares," he said. "They got big, flashy signs." That brings the total number of CBD shops targeted by the state to 8, Tong announcing in February that 5 shops elsewhere in the state had been charged. Those cases are proceeding, he said. And in another quote, he says, "This is harmful to our youth, and we're going to do everything we can do to continue to partner with the Attorney General's office, with the Stanford PD, to crack down on the illegal sale of illicit drugs in our city," said Stanford Mayor Caroline Simmons. Says, "We know how harmful this is to our youth." And while CBD is legal to sell, state law stipulates that no products may be sold containing more than 0.3% THC outside state licensed cannabis retailers. Delta 8 and Delta 9 are derived from legal CBD using a solvent-based process to juice the THC content, Tong said. And cannabis products sold at legal adult use dispensaries may contain no more than 5 milligrams THC, 100 milligrams per bag, according to state law. Synthetically produced Delta 8 sold in CBD shops often contain 10 milligrams of THC or more, he says. In another quote, he says, "We see edibles that are many times the legal allowable amount of THC, sometimes as high as 600 milligrams in a bag," Tong said. "There have been instances of kids mistaking a bag of fake Fritos or fake Doritos or Stonios, or what they call warheads, and ingesting the whole bag. That's way too much for an adult. And then to think about a young child ingesting more than 6 times the legal amount of a whole bag of cannabis edibles," he says. Many rated products were on display during the news conference Tuesday at the Stanford Police Station, many with colorful packaging that Tong said could be attractive to children. In all, more than 6,000 products were seized in the 3 raids. For anyone that doesn't do math, that's 2,000 per shop. That number is probably still going up as we speak, as we inventory all the count all these products, Tong said. These products were also stashed in ceiling tiles in a fake electrical panel, and then, importantly, they also found flower marijuana. In addition to the Delta 8 products, Tong said investigators also uncovered other illicit drugs, wads of cash, and a hidden ledger. In a quote, he says, "There's no ambiguity about what they're doing," he said. "If they thought it was legal, they wouldn't hide it in ceiling tiles." When asked how widespread the illegal sale of Delta 8 products might be, Tong said, "Very widespread. In fact, when we walk into shops just randomly, we see it more often than we don't," he said. Man, oh man, oh man, what is up with this guy? He is not a happy patrolman. But I'm going to digress and see what y'all have to say. And this is Jason Beck reporting for the High at 9 News. What do you all think?
Coming from the land of the Delta 8, it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's just, there's crap on the market because there's just such an intense desire for cannabis. You know, people are faking it. We're making stuff that's unsafe for the consumers and putting it on the streets, and consumers are taking it. And I think that, I think law enforcement, maybe they do actually want to keep people safe in this respect. Like, let's get the shit off the market. But how do we, you can't control for that if we don't have an open market, with lab testing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this shit is crazy. I mean, what do you think about his comment in regards to them hiding stuff in the ceiling tiles?
That's crazy.
I mean, the ceiling tiles are generally pretty thin. So, like, how are you going to hide it inside a ceiling tile is kind of beyond me. But
maybe they're high quality. You know what I'm saying? Like high quality thickness.
You hide it above the ceiling tile, Jason.
That's
Do
not
you
what
not
he
know how
said.
ceiling tiles work?
It was hidden in the ceiling.
He means in the ceiling. Good Lord.
That's what she said.
That's what he said.
Is that how they found them? They like heard a creaking up there. You're like, wait a minute.
Frankly, the cops should be the cops should be cracking down on these guys. Because all it's going to do is give the industry a bad name. Because no one is distinguishing between Delta 8, CBD, THC, whatever. It's just all going to be lumped in together. And so we need to start taking care of this kind of thing. As an industry, we need to be weeding out the bad actors. And I'm sorry, calling people out. We have to say the good and the bad.
I mean, I didn't ever realize that there was a law for cashing things in your ceiling tiles.
Weeding them out.
Just saying.
What, you've never hidden anything in a ceiling tile before?
I have 100%. I have 100 times in that, but that's my point. I didn't realize that there was a law.
Steve, there's no law against it. It's the flower that's in the ceiling that's illegal, Jason. And I have extensive knowledge in hiding things in ceiling tiles, Steve.
You have extensive
I think you should be arrested if you have Delta 8 flower. Okay.
Anybody that still has.
Thank you, law enforcement. Take it off the streets.
Anybody still using the ceiling tiles these days? I guarantee you there's something hidden up.
Yeah,
I mean, if the cops did go after all the Delta 8 weed, that would be a fantastic thing because they would help in the eradication of booth.
Please, cops.
Then what would happen to Texas?
You know what? I guess our people would have to start voting these mofos out, okay, and take our rights back. All right.
Yep, I'm with that.
Don't get me started.
Oh,
that's all we can do.
Yeah. We have had several people like defend Delta 8 and and having access to it. So I mean,
Delta 8 as a distillate, yes, as an ingredient in a gummy. I've heard of Delta 8 really, really helping people sleep, and there's high quality products out there that are tested. But Delta 8 flower doesn't exist, guys. It's boof. It's probably hemp, and they're spraying it down with a Delta 8 distillate. That's gross. It's moldy.
It's disgusting.
No, Delta 8 is distillate. You can't grow Delta 8 flower, and that's the problem. There's just so much stupidity.
That are high in Delta 8.
There's just, you can grow strains. No, you can't. Man, no, you can't. You're trying to get a desired effect. You know and I know. This is complete bullshit. And it's just like, the consumer doesn't know anything because the market's run amok because we don't have access to this plant. You know.
So somebody is saying that they're selling Delta 8 flower. It's always going to be just hemp sprayed with Delta 8.
I don't know what it is going to be sprayed with Delta 8 distillate, but if it's a Delta 8 flower, I mean, they could call it whatever they want to. They could sell you whatever they want to and say it's a Delta 8 flower because the problem is there's no safety measures for the consumer or the patient when it comes to Delta 8.
Pretty sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what I'm fucking smoking. But I do know that I have friends who have dispensaries, and I do know a lot about the industry here. And what happens is you have to spray it with a distillate so you get that pop, so you get that feeling. It's just like, it's gross, man. You got to take it off the streets.
I just find it humorous that this is happening in Connecticut and not in Texas or other more conservative states that this is happening.
Right.
I have a story from Texas. I'm not going to read it today, but maybe I will.
But we're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna go to a commercial and we're gonna be right back.
Let's do it.
How's it going, guys? Saman Razani coming to you from Green Street here with Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast available on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify? Tune in now and check it out.
Oh, yeah. Coming up next, we have the dope dad himself. That's right, Rico Lamitte, who needs to adjust his camera because he's looking real pixelated right now. Oh, yeah. We thought the internet gangbangers were leaving him alone, but apparently they followed him and have marked his new residence. That's right. It is the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte.
Yeah, man, I'm just celebrating the Super Mario Brothers movie that just came out, and I'm coming in straight 8-bit. Is it really? I don't know what's going on with my Razer camera today, but I'm gonna just keep it going.
People walking around your house like you're at Gretchen's.
Is that my wife, or is it a small person?
How many Yodas do you have back there, though, bro? Sorry.
Grogu.
Oh, sorry.
Let's just get started here. All right, so obviously I'm not down in Miami for this week's Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference. I've been in Los Angeles freezing my butt off in these mid 50-degree weather conditions. But after tapping in with several of my industry contacts and seeing some of the topics covered in speakers, I got to say, they've been grinding out some absolute bangers as far as conversational track quality. And one panel yesterday centered on New York market, and if MSOs and conditional applicants will be able to coexist in their nascent recreational industry. California changed the game late in 2018 when Governor Jerry Brown, 1 foot out the door, decided to lift a promised 5-year cap on cultivation size to give small farmers and operators a fighting chance to build up their own legal businesses before the bigs were allowed to move in and compete. The move's impact resulted in big box MSOs being at odds with mom and pop shops ever since. And now not just in California, but nationwide, with one side fighting to preserve the industry's roots and often just to keep the lights on, and the other to establish legitimacy and in a stigmatized field and be seen as more than just mere corporate colonizers to communities of legacy consumers with generations of history, not trusting folks that look and sound like they do. Current economic conditions in mainstream America have brought tension between the two sides to an all-new high, with giants like Curaleaf all out retreating from legacy markets where they couldn't establish a connection with the locals and focusing on emerging markets where they could better control narratives and pitch proven systems of business practices, stability, job growth, and quality control as an advantage over legacy player options to local politicians and communities within those nascent regions. But is it fair? I'd argue that the folks who've fought the battles and actually won the illegal and racist war on drugs should have the biggest seat at the table with regulators and should be first to be heard because of the generational pain and suffering that they have had and often still do have to deal with before corporate players get to try their own hand. New York is trying to do just that. And as much trash as we talk about how slow and bumpy things are going on out there, I think at least from a rhetorical standpoint, they're going about things properly. But now the shoe's on the other foot. Corporate cannabis is fighting back with lawsuits and complaining about delays to their own plans and to bring billions of capital to what was promised as an opportunity for them to thrive in the last major market to legalize in America. Sounds familiar. We're fighting the same fight, y'all. In yesterday's panel, both sides of operators represented made their case for how things were going, listing triumphs and gripes, but also pointing the finger at illicit players ruining it for everyone. Interesting debate indeed, and if you all get the chance to see the whole thing online, I highly recommend it. But my question to everyone here is not just about the New York industry, but for cannabis overall. When all the smoke clears, will mom and pop shops and big box MSOs be able to put their differences aside and coexist? Or are both sides doomed and the future going to be just medical weed, trappers, and government boof? I'm Rico Lamitte, dopest dad on the street, and apparently it's open season here. Just walking on through my motherfucking set. But I'd like to hear from you guys. What do y'all think?
So you're in a high traffic zone, apparently, Rico.
Dude, thank you. Spring break.
Yeah, I thought WeWork went out of business.
I got a spring break for preschoolers. I don't even know. This is Joe Biden's America.
I didn't know. I didn't realize you had roommates.
Yeah, I didn't know WeWork went out of business. I thought they went out of business. I guess not.
Right.
At least they let you have 2 Grogu's in there, though. Yeah, it's your little office mates. Sorry.
I could dig it.
I mean, I don't.
What do you think? Can we coexist? Can big box MSOs and the original players in the game, the mom and pop shops, can they coexist? Are they going to be able to work together?
I don't think they're ever going to work together, but I think they can definitely coexist because technically they already are coexisting.
Well,
long term,
yes. I mean, and we see it in industry nowadays in alcohol and everywhere else. You got your boutique type things, and you have the big boys. I don't see any reason why smaller operators cannot continue to exist, especially in this industry where we see loyalty is very important to a lot of consumers. So I do see people staying with the products and the growers that they like. And staying with their mom and pop shops instead of going down the street. New entrants are going to end up in. What are you talking about? Data, Jason Beck. Data. I know you've never looked at facts or numbers.
What are you looking at?
I've been looking at data for 9 years in this industry.
Show me the print.
Yes.
Show the data.
I don't have time for that because we got one more minute before we're moving on to the next greatest feisty redhead in America. However,
but you totally dominated yourself right there, talking about yourself in third person. That was awesome.
I am awesome. The point is that there is loyalty in this industry, and I do see people staying with brands and growers and people that they love, and then New people who aren't as informed are going to try out the big boys because that's what they're going to be familiar with. Deal with it.
I don't think there's any loyalty in cannabis. I think that's all total BS, and I don't know what your
You're
data
crazy.
says. But you know what happens if you have bad
Especially
data
medically,
in,
there is
if
loyalty.
you get bad
Especially
data in,
medically.
you're going to get bad data out.
When people find products they like that work for them, especially in this unregulated market where you can't rely on anything, people absolutely stick with what they know. I know that this one specific topical has worked for me day in, day out. That's the one I go with. I'm not switching to another one. I'm not trying another one. I don't care if the price point changes. I know that the topical that I use is my product, and I will continue to use that regardless of who comes along.
Oh, all right. You know, we're
Thank you,
gonna
Liz.
go right on in to Gretchen. That's right.
Spice.
Yeah, you got the intro, Rico. You got this together over here.
Let's do it.
You want me to do my
I
own?
can get it. I can get it. I'm not gonna let her give you all the smoke there.
Yeah.
So coming up next, y'all know who it is the founder of Panoptic Strategies and also the woman on PETA's most wanted for all of the terrible outfits that she gives her pit bulls. At least she doesn't have them out in the streets fighting like they do out in Virginia. But I'm not going to go there. Let's talk about
I thought that was Atlanta. I thought that was all Michael Vick.
That was Virginia, man.
Oh,
Michael Vick was in Virginia
Yeah,
Beach.
yeah.
I thought it was Atlanta. My bad.
It's Newport News. Come on,
Oh, boy.
757 still. 757. Come on, I'm from VA, man.
All right, move along to me.
No,
To
for mixing
me,
things
it's all
up
about
in
me.
case
Back
we-
to me.
and putting things together in the kitchen that night. And maybe, you know, because it's Peach Cobbler Day, she can send me a little bit of that Peach Cobbler. Coming to the stage next, y'all know who it is. Our very own Washington insider, Gretchen Gailey.
Thank you. I make an excellent peach cobbler. My headline today is coming from good old Benzinga, and they're calling this an exclusive. Lawmakers make the case for cannabis. This is a legitimate business. It's time we start treating it as such. The U.S. is closer now than ever before to cannabis legalization as supporters continue to make progress on reform. Two cannabis advocates in Congress highlighted some of the recent traction as well as their approach to rectifying cannabis legislation Tuesday at the Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference in Miami Beach. U.S. Representative Dean Phillips told the audience that he ran for Congress to restore faith in the government. I think this issue makes our federal government look like obscene hypocrites. An overwhelming majority of Americans want to see legislation passed on cannabis, and if the government can't come together to make it happen, it will go a long way towards restoring faith. So Phillips is focused on doing just that. The Minnesota congressman wants to see cannabis prohibition reform and said all of the other steps towards these efforts don't really solve the problem. I think our efforts should be focused on descheduling. It has to start there. Everything else is a Band-Aid. Safe banking is a short-term Band-Aid on a problem that really requires surgery, and surgery is descheduling. But the Safe Banking Act, which aims to protect banks servicing state legal cannabis businesses from federal prosecution, is at least a step in the right direction. U.S. Representative Troy Carter, who spoke alongside Phillips and introduced the CLIMB Act, which works with Safe Banking... Simmer down! Safe Banking Act said the problem is government leadership. The Capital Lending and Investment for Marijuana Businesses Act would allow state legal American cannabis companies, including small minority and veteran-owned businesses, the ability to access lending and investment opportunities that are available in other regulated industries. It makes no sense at all that the barrier still exists from the banking side or from the capital access side. Both officials agreed that change starts with the people and urged constituents to make themselves heard. We are voices and we are blessed to have a seat at the table, if you will, but we are nothing without the advocacy of the community. We're nothing without your resources as individuals, as stakeholders, and as leaders in this space. This is a legitimate business. It's time we start treating it as such. Well, to these two freshman congressmen, I say, bless your hearts. Give it one term in Congress, and we'll see you singing another tune. I love how they're like, oh, this is about advocacy and community, and without your resources, meaning your money, to get me back in Congress, they ain't going to do jack for you. These guys are cute little hopeful guys who are lone voices in the Congress. What they're pushing for doesn't have a shot in hell. But bless their hearts, maybe if they're still around in 40 years without term limits, they might get some of this done. This is Gretchen for High at 9 News.
Gretchen, such
Yes.
angst.
Sounding like
Truth.
Where's the freshman? She's like the senior, just hazing the freshmen coming in here. I think you know
Give
what.
them a minute. Let's see if they get
It's
reelected.
the bless
Give them
your
a minute.
hearts
We
for
had-
me. It was
yeah,
the
we-
bless your hearts for me.
We had this
Okay.
conversation like earlier in the week, and I think it's really, really good to hear new names and see new names coming out and fighting, coming out swinging for the cannabis industry. So I got to give them props on that. And although they might not have a lot of voting power, a lot of clout
It's
in
called seniority, Rico.
Yes. Voting power, seniority, clout in Congress yet, I think they can make a big impact and bridge the divide generationally, as AOC has generationally with their visibility.
I mean, these are great dreamer congressional members. We do want to thank them for their efforts in talking about this and whatnot. But I agree with Gretchen. They're still not even wet behind the ears yet. They have a lot to learn of how Washington, D.C. works, and they're going to be totally incapable of getting anything done. But it is fantastic that they are beating the drum.
Give it a few more months. They will be disillusioned
Yep.
and just like the rest of us.
Well,
What do
Joe Biden, he is actually giving a whole press room to influencers now. So I mean,
he needs to.
These TikTok freshman Congress people might be having their day pretty soon.
Is it sponsored by Bud Light? Press room?
And Cureleaf.
Oh man, Nick, what do you think about this, Nick?
I think Gretchen sounds like a libertarian talking about taxation. I'm liking where she on today.
Yeah.
Gretchen, where is Gretchen? I think PETA came for her.
She's baking that cobbler. She's going to get that cobbler.
I'm willing to bet.
You
I'm willing
know?
to bet someone came and knocked on her door.
Is a
She
PETA
got up
raid.
on a phone call. There's something going on out there. in DC.
Yeah, maybe Gretchen's getting raided, and it's really just like a huge cannabis operation above like what we're looking at right now.
She got
Cobblergate. It's Cobblergate. No,
Run,
but-
Gretchen!
little-
You can come to Texas. We won't send you back.
but seriously, as mainstream media and news sources get that further and further discredited for some reasons that are good and other reasons that are not. People are looking more and more to social media, and the truth of the matter is, like older senior Congress people, they don't have the technical know-how, and they're not really on these internets, these interwebs like the youth are
On the
and
internet?
on the internets, like the youth are. And if these freshman Congress people have more of a connection with the youth, which both sides are struggling to connect with, give them more mic time. You know?
Oh, I know what Gretchen was doing. I'm with you, Steve. She was over there stashing her weed in her ceiling tiles.
Yeah.
I
Yes, she
know. I
was.
heard the sirens rolling down the street, and I knew they were coming for me.
Pretty sure it wasn't Delta 8 flower.
Probably.
They were coming for your flower.
It was
They were coming for my
State
babies.
Troopers.
It was PETA out there looking for my puppies.
Well, that's
trying
because
to
you
take
abuse them
away.
by putting them in that horrendous clothes all the time.
They love the clothes. They are soft. They are cuddly. They love them.
And it's
dogs are
cold.
supposed to be soft and cuddly, not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you should be
you get-
thrilled, Jason Beck, because it's
you
going to
got
be
Pitbull?
80 degrees here for the next like 4 months, and trust
I
me,
wish
they
it was
won't
80
want to be in
degrees here.
pajamas.
You got
Well, in
you got-
DC, we have
you got
beautiful.
pitbull puppy pajamas up in the ceiling tiles.
I think Jason's
I
jealous,
know.
Gretchen.
That's a
I think
place
he
I
wants
should
to
start
be.
stashing them.
I think he wants to be in the snuggly pajamas and wants
He
to be
wishes.
loved.
He wishes he had a pair.
Stop it. Stop it. Y'all are just totally ridiculous.
Let's get this potty moving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're going to go to a commercial. We're going to be right back.
Let's go.
Keeping up to date on the evolving policies of relevant state, local, and federal governments is key to success. When the future of your business is at stake, you need representation as dedicated as you are. With a maze of laws and regulations surrounding cannabis, hemp, and psychedelics, knowing where to begin can be a challenge. Good thing the law offices of Omar Figueroa features a skilled, highly focused team ready to guide you through it all. They're accepting new clients in California and New York. So make sure you check them out at info@omarfigueroa.com.
Oh yeah, we are gonna
Thoughts,
skip.
opinions.
Oh no, we're gonna skip the relight today, Rico. You know why? Because the mainstream media like Fox, MSNBC, and CNN, they don't do a disclaimer. So why should we?
Okay,
Hell
well,
yeah.
if you're easily offended by us not giving the disclaimer,
You
tune
should
in
go
to-
disclaim
You
yourself.
subscribe
should
to the
smoke
channel.
more weed.
Subscribe to the channel and look at our old disclaimers. We're no longer going to say it.
Next commercial, Adam.
Got it.
Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated. Oh yeah. Okay, see, it's the cops coming for Gretchen.
They coming. That's where she
Hide
went.
that cobbler.
She went to go hide the pit bull. She went to go hide him.
Hide the kid.
She did.
Hide the pit bull. Hide the cobbler. Hide your kids.
They're probably their chips are going off. You know, they're stolen dogs.
Hide your husband. Hide your wife. No, I ain't gonna say
That's
that.
right.
Oh boy.
I teed that one up for you, Rico.
No, I'm not gonna. That's bait.
Rico, you want to introduce Liz?
Please.
Oh, because
Yeah.
Dr. Mary's not here. I apologize. All
Yeah.
right. So up next, we have straight out the great purple state of Texas, an advocate, storyteller, co-founder of Grow House Media, host of the Feminized podcast, where she interviews some of the dopest women in the game. Coming to the stage next, y'all know who it is, Liz Grow.
Hey, thank you. Here I am deep in the heart of Texas, reporting for High at 9 News. I'm super excited to bring you the story today from the Nevada Current, and it's State Senator on weed. Let's let the people buy in bulk. I think that's a great idea. It sounds like heaven. Lawmakers in Carson City are considering a bill that could more than double the cannabis possession limit for recreational users and the sales limit for dispensaries. Now, the bill would also remove the employment ban for certain felons in the cannabis industry, giving regulators discretion over their applications. At some point, you've served your time, says Democratic Senator Dallas Harris, adding that the inability of ex-felons to find work often commits them into another life of crime. Currently, only those with the most serious charges and multiple felony convictions are prohibited from employment. The proposed legislation, Senate Bill 277, would permit adults to possess up to 2.5 ounces of cannabis, which is a significant increase from the current 1 ounce limit for recreational users. So that's 1 ounce going up to 2.5 ounces. I like that. Now, that threshold prevents buyers from being able to take advantage of sales like consumers of other products. Senator Harris says, we're trying to up the possession limit and allow folks to be able to engage in that kind of bulk buying if they like, whether it be for medical reasons or for none of our damn business. Guys, I'm so excited to hear what you think will happen in Nevada. Do you think they're going to continue to improve the program by removing these bullshit limitations to folks who have been harmed by the war on drugs with a criminal record? Will they let the consumer buy more weed at one time? Or are there unforeseen stakeholders working to prevent the progress? This is Liz Grow reporting from deep in the heart of Texas for High at 9 News. What do y'all think?
I mean, I think that the headline is very, very misleading.
Yes.
Because they're saying they're letting people buy in bulk. But
Yeah,
that's not
man.
the reality. They're just upping the limit from 1 ounce to 2.5 ounces. And I do not consider 2.5 ounces a bulk purchase whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, for the uneducated consumer, it may seem like a bulk purchase because, you only have these jars of 8s.
Well, yeah, because you're getting
you have all these
16 28ths in a purchase. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is going to be heavy because all those packaging requirements and all those extra trash for all my environmentalist friends because of all the packaging requirements out of keep the children safe. Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
Why do you think that it hasn't happened, or what do you think could stand in its way? It just seems like a no-brainer,
I'm just saying they shouldn't put headlines out like this until they're allowing people to at least purchase a quarter pound at a time as a minimum. That's a minimum what I would consider a bulk purchase. But really, I would only consider pounds as bulk purchases personally. But I think the general public could get away with it.
Who's buying pounds?
Who's buying pounds? Are you serious? Who's not buying pounds?
Who's not?
Lordy.
if you're buying flour,
Yeah. Pounds of flour.
English there, why not?
Y'all are.
do you want that? You want that break point?
No,
Or you wanna- you wanna buy
agree
these
that
exorbitant
I
prices?
agree that 2.5 ounces is not buying in bulk.
Right.
But I'm sure this reporter who, or whatever, 20-year-old editor that night who wrote the headline on social media didn't know anything either.
Well, he never had more than a half ounce in his pocket.
Well, wait, I take
No.
that back. The
But-
let people buy in bulk is coming from the state senator's point, so she doesn't know
Yeah.
anything either.
Yeah,
So clearly they don't know jack in Nevada. However, I do think that people should be allowed to buy more than 2 ounces. I mean, that's just crazy.
I think this story is just like the other one, and it's reflective of just how out of touch our legislators are with the actual whatever it is that they're making laws about. Because, to say that a couple of ounces is bulk, get the fuck out of here, man.
It's crazy. It is. They are out of touch. However, we have to understand that there's a whole huge portion of the population that is out of touch through no fault of their own, because they have been lied to by the war on drugs, because they have been brainwashed. They're trying to find this information. They're finding information in bits and pieces. They're seeing these regulations and they're thinking, okay, I shouldn't buy more than that. It's fucked up. We shouldn't be, we can buy as much beer as we want to.
Yep.
Straight up.
Very
I will
cool.
buy kegs if I want to.
You can buy all kinds. You can
It's
buy all kinds of
confusing.
kegs.
It's confusing for the consumer. And so that's just why I think it's fucking bullshit. Like, why should I fucking have to do math? Like, I know what I want. I know what I'm smoking.
Language.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I do apologize for that.
You too, please.
Why do I freaking have to? I just the limits, and it's just also confusing. So I love the senator's vibe.
Passion. So much passion out here on the show today. So I appreciate that. I just love that this person said, please do not do that. There's I'm not, what did she call it? The proverbial corner boy.
Where are
you seeing?
Harris suggested the ability to take advantage of deals, and stocking up is going to make you less likely to try and go to the proverbial corner boy.
Hey, you know what? I'm not going to lie though. For the average consumer, she may be telling the truth in regards to, because now if you can buy 2.5 zips, and when you would normally be an ounce person, you always kind of wanted a little bit more or whatnot, then I do think that this will curb a little bit of the illicit market, but it's not going to dent it in any way whatsoever.
So you think that's the answer to fighting the illicit market? Let people start buying poundage?
Yeah,
100%. Do you think that would really
buy
work?
as much weed as they want to. We don't tell people how much
Yes.
milk they can buy. We don't tell people how much butter they can buy. We don't tell people how much broccoli they can buy. And cannabis is an agricultural commodity and should be sold as such.
Yes.
We do tell
Yes, and you should
people
be able to-
how
you
much
should be able to stock up
medicine
on
they
it.
can buy.
Cannabis,
Absolutely.
Dosage is important, but the
Cannabis
doctor.
is medicine.
Yes, but we can dose it. We don't have to cap it.
all use is medicine.
We just,
can
and that's
cap
how
it.
we need
They
to.
over-
That's how we
You
need.
cap it. I got cut off at the drugstore for buying allergy medicine because they think I'm going to go home and make meth.
But you know what? That's the allergy
There's a
medicine
lot
that
of
you can
pollen.
make meth out of. You can make meth out of that, though, sis.
Yeah.
You can't make meth out of cannabis.
Exactly.
I don't know about this.
It's
I have
true.
no problem with there being some limits. I don't.
The limits only inhabit the illicit market. That's all that it does. The limits are pointless and stupid.
Amen.
All right. The more you let people have weed, the more you destigmatize it and make it not such a thing anymore. It's a plant. It grows. God created it.
Right.
I know a lot of the evangelicals hate to hear it, but God created all plants.
Genesis 1:29, baby,
And-
herb bearing
and
seed.
If you
It's not like it
can't-
just popped
if you
up in the
can't
70s.
if you cannot legally get as much as you need at the store, what's going to stop you from going to the proverbial corner boy and getting more of
Well,
it?
what's funny is that in the story, you'll see that the senator made this suggestion, and then opponents are saying, well, you know what, you can buy as much as you want anyway. You can just go to different dispensaries and get an ounce here and an ounce there.
Yep.
And the senator's like, excuse me, that's currently a felony. Okay?
Only if you get
So
caught.
you don't even know what you're talking about, like opponents. I mean, it's just so asinine. I mean, it's just a waste of time, this conversation, really.
No, but you know what? But New York, or excuse me, Nevada though, their whole point of sale system all work together, so you can't actually loop in Nevada, because if you go to one store and you purchase your limit within a period of time, it'll tell you the other stores that they purchased X, Y, and Z, so they won't allow you to be able to purchase over that.
They don't even know what they're working with here. It's like it's a whole one big circle. You know what?
Yeah, and you know what? To comment on Malik's comment in there, cannabis is greater than toilet paper.
Amen.
Right. Yeah.
But hemp toilet
Right.
paper
That technically
That-
would be cannabis toilet
is
paper.
number
Yeah,
one.
you see some hemp toilet paper, so you can go ahead and chill your butt out.
That's the CBD
Essential.
toilet paper you're talking about, Rico.
It's essential. I'm talking about hemp
Whatever
fibers
happened to all
on that ass.
Whatever happened to all the CBD infused products, like the CBD infused pillows and stuff like that? Whatever happened to
My
them,
pillow
man?
guy
What do you
has a
think,
CBD infused pillow.
No, shut up.
You probably have him on speed dial. I would not be surprised if you have Mike Lindell on on speed dial.
I'm gonna give
your
Mike a
phone,
call and
too.
tell him we need to come out with a CBD pillow.
We need to come out with a
Pillow spray.
I'm pretty sure he was probably the one behind Cannabumps.
Stop it, bro. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You can't say that about people that have bad drug habits.
I didn't say that. I didn't know he had bad
Cut it
drug
out. Yeah, you did.
habits. What you
Yeah,
talking
you
about, man?
did.
I don't know what you're talking
Guy
about.
used to smoke major crack.
Well, Cannabumps is not smoking crack.
I mean, it sure does look like it.
Powder is
I
different
mean,
than rock.
just the look is triggering for me. What do you think about that? Nick?
Mike Lindell's look is triggering to me.
What do you think about that, Nick?
Wildstar.
Nick, you with us?
What, the cannabis?
Yeah. What do you think about all of this?
I already chimed in, man. I'm just stunned how Gretchen goes from sounding like a libertarian one moment to, freedom restricting status.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you
Nickolas
call it. That's what you
Wildstar, I
call
will
it.
say this here so everyone can hear.
The flip flop.
No, I'm not going with a flip-flop. I'm going with you have brought me to a new understanding, and I will change my opinion. Thank you to all in the chat and to my fellow correspondents for opening my mind that cannabis should be free and rain from the skies for everyone to enjoy.
Well, in all fairness, to your point,
However, I'm a little iffy on that until it's really regulated. But all right,
Gretchen, I do,
Yay.
in response to your comment about it raining from the
Yes.
sky,
Yeah.
federal judges have stated in court judgments that the federal government pays them to believe that cannabis is dropped out of the sky from crates, and that's where it comes from. So, in all fairness,
what are
thinking
you
that it
talking
comes out of
about?
the sky is not that far
Where
off.
do you come up with
I
this?
wish.
It's like that's 100% true.
It
I
happened
can
in
show you- I
Israel.
can show you this in court documents where judges have said this during people's sentencing. I can show you that.
I would love to see it. Please send it along. You know my
I will.
email.
I will.
Thank you.
We'll be getting it in the next couple days.
Fantastic. Are we ready for Wildstar to
Yes.
do his story?
That's-
All right.
The wildest of
We
all
have a
stars.
commercial coming up first. We'll be right back.
Go.
How's it going, guys? Saman Razani coming to you from Green Street here with Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast available on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify? Tune in now and check it out.
Oh yeah, coming up next. That's right. It is the man, the myth, and the legend. That's right. It's the governor himself coming up to speak the black conservative voice that Joe Biden would love to silence you just for even acknowledging exist. But thank God for Twitter, because he can allow his free mind to regulate the spaces of the Twitterverse. That's right. Is the governor himself, Nickolas Wildstar.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Just before lawmakers went on a 2-week spring break, the Illinois Senate passed 2 bills that will work to further decriminalize cannabis use in Illinois. Senate Bills 125 and 1886 would prevent police from searching an individual's vehicle based solely on the smell of cannabis and would allow some individuals on probation to consume cannabis or alcohol. When Illinois legalized cannabis in 2020, it also made individuals previously charged with minor cannabis offenses eligible to have their records expunged. At the end of 2020, Governor J.B. Pritzker announced nearly 500,000 cannabis-related convictions had been expunged, and almost 10,000 people with low-level cannabis convictions had been pardoned. It was incredibly important as we were looking to legalize this product that has clearly demonized so many communities. Peoria Democrat Republican or Representative Jehan Gordon Booth said of the legalization law at a Tuesday news conference. Both bills will still need approval in the House and a signature from the governor to become law. Senate Bill 125 would ensure that the smell of burnt or raw cannabis in a motor vehicle cannot alone be probable cause for an individual's vehicle to be searched. People, especially people of color, are unnecessarily pulled over far too often. Senator Rachel Ventura, a Democrat from Joliet and lead sponsor of the bill, said of the legislation during floor debate. The odor of cannabis alone shouldn't be one of those reasons for their car to be searched. Cannabis is legal in Illinois, and it's a pungent scent that can stick to clothes for extended periods of time. An amendment to the bill created an age exemption specifying that individuals under the age of 21 are still eligible to have their vehicles searched solely based on odor. After that provision was added, the ACLU of Illinois shifted from supporting the bill to having a neutral stance on it. We do have concerns that the amendment to the bill creates a workaround or loophole that could have the effect of incentivizing police to target youth for unnecessary traffic stops or vehicle searches. Atticus Ballesteros, an attorney with ACLU of Illinois, said in an interview. Ballesteros added that the ACLU of Illinois originally supported the bill because there are many reasons why a vehicle may smell of cannabis, and to us that applies irrespective of age, Ballesteros said. The measure passed 33-20 in the Senate and awaits action in the House. SB 1886 would bar courts from preventing individuals from using cannabis or alcohol if they're on probation, conditional discharge, or supervision. The bill has several exemptions, though, including if the person is sentenced to a crime that involves the presence of an intoxicating compound in the person's body. Courts would also still be allowed to impose substance use restrictions if the person is under the age of 21 or if they are participating in problem-solving court, a system of courts designed to help people with mental health and substance abuse problems. The measure passed with a 34-21 vote and will head to the House. As great as all this sounds, it's superfluous since the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution prevents unreasonable search and seizures. But who cares about that old-ass document, right? What would be better if there was a law created that would prevent legislators from making laws that govern over a person's body. But that would require we, the people, agreeing that no one is the boss of you except for you. Reporting for the High 9 News Hour, this is Nick Wildstar, a.k.a. the Governor. Speak now or forever hold your peace. And I'm out.
It's all good movement in everything. And how many states now are saying that they're no longer going to be?
We talked about Maryland yesterday as far as they just enacted this as a policy. And now we have Illinois that's about to get it enacted as part of their policy. Like,
do we have a count on the states that are saying that they're going to do that?
California's already done it. California's already done it. So
I would say there's less than a handful.
Well, we're at 3 right now, Gretchen, that I can name off the top of my
Which
head.
is, again, less than a handful.
That's right. I would agree with you on that.
Especially your little hands.
Yeah.
I'm offended. I'm triggered by you making your hands like that, Gretchen. It triggers me. Are they jazz hands?
Are they what?
Are they jazz hands?
No, these are jazz hands.
Those Trump hands?
No, these are Trump hands.
Oh, boy.
Trump fingers?
Baby fingers.
Uh-huh. I bet.
Behind bars, holding onto the bars.
So, I think there's positive movement in the right direction. I think it should be done on a federal level, obviously. But
because people get pulled over by federal cops all the time.
I know, right? In Joe Biden's America, apparently they do, rhetorically. But what I would say here is this is going to stop a lot of unnecessary violence too. So I think more states, especially the states that have legalized or decriminalized, they should have this on their ballots if they haven't already. You should not be able to be have probable cause just because you smell weed in somebody's car.
I totally agree with
Period.
that. Also, too, a lot of times you just have people that don't clean their cars, and their car smells like weed, and they're not even having it. So then, therefore, you're even wasting the law enforcement's time.
Right. Law enforcement shouldn't be smelling my car,
exactly.
man. I just
Yeah.
I
Who
just
do they
farted,
think
bro.
they are?
My fart smell like weed, bro. My fart smell
Who do
like
you think
weed.
they are? Joe Biden sniffing little kids?
You know what's funny is every time that I've ever been pulled over, the smelling like weed has always been secondary. You know, is I pulled you over because your tail light was out, or you know, you were speeding, and then whatever the fuck, and then they get to the car. Oh, well, your car smells like marijuana. Well, we live in California, motherfucker, so back off. You know, of course.
Right. Like, I'm driving through Salinas, man. Everything smells like weed.
Right
out here. Weed and cow patty. Weed and cow.
You know what? You know what I like to used to do to them? I used to be like, what do you mean my car smells? How do you know what marijuana smells like? It's supposed to be bad. How
I'm
it
sorry,
always
officer.
threw them off. That always threw them off.
Sorry, officer. That's actually crack you're smelling.
Oh, that's right. I mean, it's a very story that's close to my heart because just down the street from my house 2 days ago, there was 11 pounds of marijuana confiscated by the cops. And it's a story, and it was on the front page news of this little Texas town, and people are like, 11 pounds of marijuana.
Yes.
Like they saved the world. You know, that is seriously like that energy there. So yeah, you sniff a little weed in the air and cops get excited. Like they have that mindset.
Because the bigger the bust, the bigger the boost.
Yeah, man.
Maybe cops in Nevada are just gonna pull your weed out and weigh it now. If it says was it 2.6 2.6 ounces, you're over the limit, bro.
It's too many nugs, man. Get in there.
I wonder. I wonder if their state limit is 28 grams or it's actually 28.345, whatever like a real ounce is.
Was it wet? Was it wet?
Oh man, you know what?
Keep the windows open and dry out.
This was great, and I do think it is a baby step for Nevada, and I'm glad that they are doing this. But to call it a bulk purchase, I think is a little.
Is Illinois?
Oh, Illinois, yeah.
No, but we talked about Nevada.
Yeah, we
the
did.
bulk purchase. That's what the story's
We're-
about.
Dr. Mary apparently could not join us today, but she did put a story into the thing, and I want to read just a little bit of this and hear your thoughts, because apparently a Texas House passes a bill to allow medical marijuana as an opioid alternative and replace THC limits, sending the bill to the Senate. And it says the Texas House of Representatives has passed a bill to allow medical marijuana as an opioid alternative for people with chronic pain and also replace the state's THC limit, sending the legislation to the Senate for consideration. The full chamber passed the measure from Representative Stephanie Click, a Republican, I may add, in 127 to 19 vote on the third reading on Wednesday, one day after giving it the initial approval for the floor. The latest vote also comes weeks after a separate House panel unanimously approved a bill to decriminalize cannabis possession in the state while providing a pathway for records expungement. The medical marijuana expansion legalization, which moved through the House Public Health Committee last month, would replace the 1% THC cap cannabis oil form with a volumetric dose of 10 milligrams. It would also expand eligibility for low THC marijuana products by granting legal access to patients with a condition that causes chronic pain for which a physician would otherwise prescribe an opioid. Importantly, the bill further stipulates that regulations at the Department of State Health and Services, DSHS, could approve through rulemaking additional debilitating medical conditions to qualify patients for the cannabis program. If enacted, the bill would take effect starting on September 1st of 2023. What do you think about this, Liz? Being from Texas.
Thank you for reading the story. So right now, currently, we have to vote for certain medical conditions to be included for low THC marijuana products. And this is what it's called here, right, in Texas. You have to get a prescription from a doctor. You can't get a recommendation. So we have to wait every 2 years for new qualifying conditions to be added. Last legislative session, they included PTSD. I got my prescription for THC, low level THC products. I mean, it's just such confusion in this state right now. And so what they're saying is just they're expanding the market and expanding access to those patients who need it most, to those patients who have consistently been left out of the bill, those pain patients. And last legislative session, those pain patients were taken off of the bill before the Senate approved it. Now, we have to remember, it got through the House. Cannabis bills that are good get through the House, especially those by Representative Click. She was a former nurse. She's a badass. She knows what she's doing. But the Senate is our problem. Dan Patrick is the lieutenant governor of the state, and unless he allows it, the Senate doesn't vote on a bill. It could die on his desk. And so that's why we, the people, have to recognize what's happening and make noise and let our local legislators know that we need them to support this bill. They're going to see it. They're going to hear about it. They need to get excited about it. And that is the really important thing about this story. Yes, we made it through the House. It's super exciting. But we got to get through that Senate, because we have pain patients in Texas who are suffering right now because they don't have access. No, we don't have access to flower, but we do have products, and we have products that are high potency. We have 20 milligram per gummies, but it's not the right kind of dosing right now. It's crazy. So I just thank you for letting me rant there.
I mean, I agree. Dan Patrick is going to kill this bill for sure. Like, there's no way he's going to let this go through. But do you think he actually lets the Senate actually have a vote just to measure, or do you think that he doesn't allow it? Does he actually have the control to not to tell the Senate you cannot vote for this?
He does. He does. Now, if he has enough pressure from the Senate, he'll have to vote on it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I vote for a senator.
So you're saying,
so
they
answer to me,
so
and they have to give him pressure. It's very combative. He is able to block it. It's insane. I know this sounds crazy. He is one man who is able to block it. And our governor, Governor Abbott, who is governing the state, cannabis isn't big for him, right?
This is I see a lot of stuff going on here that we see in Virginia too. A lot of Republican on Republican infighting. You have Stephanie Click, who's a Republican, who's for all of this, and you have Abbott and
Dan Patrick.
Not so much Abbott, but Patrick that is totally against it. They're going against each other. I'm all about Republican on Republican warring, but y'all got to get it together, Jason.
Well, you know what I'm going to say about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe the cannabis industry, especially in Texas, should be given more money to people like Dan Patrick and people like the governor. So then that way their voices will be heard a little bit better.
I agree. I agree.
If they do, there's no way, especially in Texas, they can come close to what Big Oil and Big Pharma.
You don't have to.
They gave them $9 million last year.
Competition, Rico. You're missing the point.
Small numbers.
You're missing the point. And if you stay with that small mindset, you're never going to get anywhere in life.
No.
Hold on. I'm trying to keep it clean.
You have to work. If you think that the goal is always impossible, and you're never going to try to.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying with Big Pharma and with Big Oil so deep in Patrick's pockets right now, how is anything on the
and that's
cannabis
what I'm
level?
telling you. You don't get anywhere if you don't start somewhere.
Level?
You have to start. Be the catalyst. Do it. Start. Figure something out, but ultimately
it's pay to play.
Dollars and cents.
Here
right now,
in Texas, it's pay to play.
What I'm saying is you got to get him out of there before you can even start.
And so we have to get people voting.
I disagree on that because they're not even paying into any of it.
They're
right
not.
Now. And so
they're not voting.
Until they even start paying, they're still going to be less than and totally degenerate in that mind.
Yeah, that's we have to get them paying, and then they have to see. We need to pay the money.
Exactly.
You have to pay the troll toll if you want the boys sold.
Yes,
Okay.
I see what you did
Yep.
there, Liz. I see.
You gotta pay
I see
it.
what you did there. Yes, and so you said 9 million.
9 million,
is
and
where
it's
they were.
only 9 million from oil and gas, which I don't believe. That's what they
And
reported. It's
Gretchen, on a national level, how much cannabis lobbying money did we have
Not a lot.
last
I
year?
don't know. I think I forget.
Was it,
Like 30 mil, maybe.
and that's what I'm saying to you, Jason. Like,
I understand what you're
Texas
saying. I understand what you're saying.
a smaller
I wish we
level,
would.
I
it's
understand
not
what
going
you're
to come
saying.
anywhere
I
near
totally
the amount of
100%
money.
understand what you're
So that's
saying.
what I'm saying. You got to
But
get Patrick
until-
out of there. You got to get him out of there. Get
That's
some
not
new
how it
blood.
works.
Get
That's
some
not
new
how the
blood
game works. That's
in
not how you play the game.
What are you talking about?
That's not how you play the game.
What game are we trying to play
lobbying
here?
lobbying money because Dan Patrick is going to stonewall this. Dan Patrick is going to
Let's
kill
send good
this
energy.
bill.
Let's send good energy. Let's call out to Texans and say, hey, if you want cannabis, if you want
he
what
doesn't.
you want, then you need to get active and call your local representative and your local senator. All right, super easy.
Casey Knox
Gretchen,
just said
Gretchen,
in the clubhouse chat, she said the good old boys ain't going nowhere.
nowhere.
And you know why?
Nowhere.
It's because of the type of mindset that like until people start doing this and start paying in real money and doing this, you're always going to be in the same spot, and it's always going to be the same echo chamber that you're talking into.
Yep.
What I was saying, Gretchen,
Yes.
is no amount of money right now, no amount of money is going to touch the amount of money that is going into Dan Patrick's coffers from Big Pharma and Big Oil to change his mind on any of this. And what Jason is saying, that I can't come in with that mindset. And I'm like, you got to vote him out of there because
I'm not
he's already
saying to not
stuck
vote him
on
out of there,
this.
but at the same time, if you're not putting money in and you're just saying vote him out of there, you're never going to get anywhere. That's what I'm saying. And shout out to Anna.
So you got to do both.
You got to get some.
I'm saying you got to do
Yeah.
both. I'm saying you got
100%. You have to do
Yeah.
both. That's exactly what I'm saying.
You got to do
That's
both.
what I'm saying. And all the cannabis industry is doing is complaining, saying let's vote them out of there. They're not putting no money
Right.
in the pocket.
May 29th is the
I'm
last
saying
day of session.
what I'm saying is get some new blood in there and
You're
give
never
that
going to get
person
new
money.
blood in
Gotta
there until
fund
you
your
start putting
candidates.
money in
That's how
there.
you gotta
That's
get
my
new
point.
blood.
You're never going to get new
Right.
blood in there until
That's
you
what I'm
start putting
saying,
money in.
Nick.
All right, on
saying,
this
Mr.
fun
Wildstar,
note,
you
I have
gotta
to go.
fund
So
a
let's
new
wrap this
candidate.
up. Come on. Wrap it up.
The great red state of Texas. Yeehaw.
I love you all. Thank you all out there for tuning in for yet another episode of High at 9 News. You can always catch us weekdays at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our live audience members and online supporters tuning in and giving us feedback on the daily headlines of chaos, also known as the developing cannabis industry. Our vetted industry correspondent team tuning in from all over the global community, bringing us much needed variety of perspective and adding your respective opinions to the conversation. To our production team, thank you, Cloud Media Partners, House of Fuego, wonderful Jaja Simone. Is she back? Is she back on
No, she's
Clubhouse
not
yet,
back,
man?
but she's on.
We gotta have Jaja back, man. Hope she's okay. I gotta give her a call. Holding things down and keeping our AV struggles to a minimum. I know I had a little problems today. We had a little 8-bit issues today, but we're working through them. And to all of our haters out there, y'all know who you are. Keep on doing what you do. We gonna keep on doing what we do, and we got nothing but love for you. And finally, Cannabis Sativa L. The reason why we show up every day. We hope that you get through to the voters in Texas and you bless us with lots of money coming from all angles so we can fund these new candidates and get them to the stage and push the agenda forward. It is Thursday, April 13th, 2023. The show's over and you've been blessed with today's top industry headlines. Hope it was enough to put in your pipe and smoke it at least until tomorrow. Y'all know who it is. Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street. And I'd like to give it to Liz Grow. What you got for us? Final message to give these people before we head out today.
Final message, I just want to say, let's all remember that people are still being put in jail for this plant, for this flower, and do what you can locally to make change and create change wherever you are, at whatever level you are at, okay? Fight for cannabis and full access. That's all this Texas girl's got.
I have one more thing. Big shout out to Anna for the super chat. Much love to you and everybody else. Join the super chat, man. Help support good cannabis conversation and give us all of your love, hate, and everything in between. Anything else, Jason?
Oh, yeah. Just make sure that you head over to the website, www.highat9news.com, and make sure that you enter our 420 contest. Okay, submit your stuff. Let us know what you're going to be doing for 420. Make sure to tag us in your post when you're doing 420 so that we share those as well.
That's all. Have a great day, everybody. It's Thursday. It's
Love
almost
y'all.
Friday.